I don't have ADD. I'm just a manifesting generator who gets bored and who pivots and needs to experience a lot of different things in life.
Yep, same. Also, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I am just a very busy manifesting generator, and I'm supposed to be. Manifesting generators are an energy type. We are very multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate, energetic people. We've often been told we're too much, we're too loud, we have ADHD or ADD. Why can't you stick with any one thing? Why are you such a quitter? And like, no, we're supposed to bounce around, do a lot of things. So yes, it's all about like, you have to learn to have a lot of experiences for the sake of the experience, not for the outcome.
I have an awesome guest, Adriana Keefe, who's a human design expert on that I got an intuitive nudge to invite on the podcast because I met with Adriana a few years ago and she did a human design reading for me that really, really, really helped me as I've been expanding and growing. And honestly, it even helped me bring this podcast to life. So for many years, I'd been doing all the work, right? And I know you can relate to that because you're a person who is seeking that freedom, that peace. You just want to live your life and you want to live it fully. And we step onto this path of healing and growing and uncovering our patterns and processing our wounds and learning essentially how to come home to ourselves. And while that work is so sacred and it is absolutely a part of the journey, there does come a moment where we have to ask ourselves a much deeper question. At what point do we stop focusing solely on healing as if it becomes part of our identity, as if it is part of our identity, and really start fully living life? So Adriana today is going to talk a little bit about human design and how human design has really changed her life, how it has helped her to build the business she has today, to really embody who she's been created to be. She is a human design priestess and a host of the No BS Human Design podcast. I love the title of her podcast alone. You can feel Adriana really stepping into her unique self just in that alone. And today's conversation, we're going to go beyond specifics of human design charts and types and strategies. You can learn more about that from Adriana and all of her different resources that she has out there. But we really are going to explore the whole idea of surrender, rebirth, what it means to really let an old version of yourself die, and how to reconnect with the aliveness that exists beneath all the striving, all the fixing, and the self-improvement. Adriana is a woman who really walks her talk and talks her walk, and she's been through it. She has multiple times let things in her life just fall to the ground and die so that she can step more and more into her divine design. So we're going to touch base today on intuition, truth, compassion, really learning how to trust ourselves, and the courage that it takes to become who we've always meant to be. So whether you're in a season of transition, feeling the pull towards something more authentic, or simply craving more joy and vitality in your life, I know that this conversation is going to meet you exactly where you are. So take a deep breath, soften your shoulders, and let's surrender into today's conversation.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am so excited. Every time I talk to you, you just put like the biggest smile on my face. You were just like a ray of sunshine. Makes sense now, realizing you're a Gemini. I'm like, well, that's why. We're best friends already.
We are. Yes, I've got my Gemini sparkle. Oh my goodness. I had, as I shared with you when I got this intuitive nudge a few months ago to have you on the podcast, and I was remembering doing a reading with you for human design 2 years ago. It was so strong, and everything is coming into alignment for us to be having this conversation today. Everything is always divinely aligned. And Adriana, I just want to say this before we dive into our conversation here. We're going to touch on what human design is and what you've been doing as a career and as a business and building, continuing to grow and evolve and bless other people with. But when I found human design, it just really landed with me at a season in my life where I was really craving a deeper understanding of my own divine design. And I'd been learning about it through different people, and I had a bunch of books on my shelf. And a business coach that I was working with at the time had you, I think she might have been on your podcast or vice versa. And then she had you come and speak to us in the group. And you have such a gifted way with explaining it in layman's terms and in a way that I really related to, because you are a very, very real person. And then I did a human design reading with you shortly after. And I just want to thank you here on the podcast, because that was such a massive catalyst for me in my own process of surrender and also embodying who I've been created to be, instead of constantly trying to force myself to be who I thought I should be. So we will get into the nitty gritty details more of what human design is as a spiritual science. But I really, Adriana, want to hear a little bit more about you, because your story is so rich and it really reflects what you teach other people. You walk your talk. And on my podcast application, I always have my guests fill out this application with different questions. You said something that really struck me, that was so deep. You said that surrender for you really is becoming a vessel for what your soul is here to experience. What does that, Adriana, look like for you in real life? I don't want the beautiful Instagram version that so many people put out there that's perfectly curated, but that messy, ordinary Tuesday. What does that mean?
This is such a beautiful question. And like you said, the timing of us sitting here having this conversation, it is not beyond me. I just started reading the book, The Surrender Experiment, this week with my community members. And so we're on day 3. And it's just been a week of real awareness in the small patterns where I could have stepped back into being the version of myself that I am ready to let go of. I should say I am at the end of a very big astrological transit for myself, a big return called the nodal return. And literally the north node that I'm moving into is gate 55, the gate of abundance and surrender. It's Pisces energy. So I'm not even kidding with the timing of this podcast. It's wild. And something that I have really been navigating, we were just talking about how I have 3 young kids, and I'm also a Taurus who loves her alone time. And my husband works from home. So I literally never get this house to myself, ever. There's like very rare moments. And in the past couple of weeks, I have had 2 days where I was supposed to have the house all to myself. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a beautiful experience. I can be in deep meditation. I can just lay in the grass. I can do whatever I want, just be my own energy. Both times I walk in the door from dropping one kid off or going to the gym or whatever, and I get a call from one of my kids' schools, and I have to go pick up those kids on those days. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And it took conversations with some of my best friends and really sitting in the awareness of the patterns that I was ready to let go of, which was the controlling. My south node is Virgo. It's very like task oriented, like control. I want to do it my way. And surrendering and trusting that everything is of the right timing and every person around me is a gift to me. And that has been very active in my system over the past 2 weeks, but especially this week, where I really just want to flow with the summer. I want to have fun with my kids around. I want to work still because I love what I do. And also I want to find the meaning in having a busy, chaotic household right now and let that nurture me instead of feel like it's taking away from me. But there's a lot of places and areas in my life where where I'm actively practicing surrender right now, but that is definitely one of the biggest, most activated areas of my life.
Oh my goodness, that's the everyday.
Yeah.
That's the 6-year-old who's pukey on a
Yeah.
Wednesday while you're
Literally right now
recording a
at home.
podcast.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like as we're speaking here.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, that's very much why this podcast is called The Daily Surrender. It's not a one and done. It's not just surrendering to those big moments in life that happens like as life and things come out of the blue. Like I shared with you, my husband's position at work being eliminated and being like, oh, okay. Right. So obviously that's a big divine call up for me and him and all of us here to surrender in. But it's the day that we thought that we were going to be alone. I had a very similar day. My children are much older than yours. And yet I still don't get alone time. My husband has always worked from home. This will be a very new season for us as he will be home all the time building his business. And we have young adult children who are still living in the house. And so I don't get alone time. And I thought I was going to get alone time. And man, I was so crabby. And I was wrestling really hard with my own, wants, right? And like stomping my feet like a petulant little child. And
Same.
I had that
The
moment
head
of asking,
tantrum.
yeah, exactly. And then I think that's part of we feel what we have to feel. And then we get to ask ourselves, okay, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to stay here? Are you going to sit in this? Because you're going to really ruin the day. You can't change it. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I know that you have been in the process of growing and evolving alongside of your business that is growing and evolving. And as I was on your website recently, I witnessed this growth and evolution that's super clear from the last time that I went on your website 2 years ago. And you had said that your business itself, in many ways, had to die before it could be reborn. Can you take us into that season a little bit, Adriana?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With being an entrepreneur, I'm sure you have a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to this because
Yeah.
we're the ones who are constantly like, how do I surrender more? Ugh. With that comes this attachment to the business. Your business is you. And as much as we try to detach in a healthy way, it still needs to evolve alongside you. And what I had grown was beautiful and magical, and it helped me gain my confidence. It helped me learn so much. It helped me realize how powerful I am, that just me being in the room with someone can change how they show up for the rest of their lives. I would have never seen that about me before. And this, intimate coaching and group containers and speaking, I had a million different things going on. It all served a purpose. And at some point, it just ceased. It just stopped. I mean, I know exactly when that point was. It was when my nodal return first started, January 2025. And gosh, I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn. I did not want to let go. I wanted to let go because I was like, okay, there's a lesson here, but my energy wasn't actually letting go and understanding. So last year was one of the hardest years for me. Stripped a lot away, complete like ego death, completely like naked soul. Like, do I shut this business down? What do I do? And what I realized was that my heart was being pulled in a different direction, not completely, but who I was showing up as in that business was actually not what my heart really wanted to do. It's all over my chart, human design and astrologically speaking. I am designed to be more in the spotlight than I am already. Think like celebrity astrologer, that kind of status. Like every time I have a reading with an astrologer, they're like, what are you doing? Where are you? Why aren't you like in magazines and stuff? And then I didn't understand how that could be possible for me, even though my heart and my energy, my excitement always came from like, let me do celebrity chart readings about celebrities that I love and talk about mental health and the fact that is in our human design. All these celebrities and singers who talk about bipolar or depression, like this is in our charts and we can better understand ourselves. These are the things that I really want to bring forward, and I almost like more mainstream human design, but I had no one showing me that path. I don't see anyone doing that in human design. So my natural default of the old paradigm of my business was coaching. And I still do take on private clients. I love coaching. And also I am here to also bring light, airy conversation to human design instead of just the deep. I mean, I'm a Scorpio moon. We love transformation. We love rebirth. I go deep, but I'm here to find the balance between two. And so I had to lose a lot in order for me to fully surrender to what if I just played? What if I just did a chart reading of Jamie Fraser from Outlander and like all these things? And these are the things that are working for me now. And so I just have to get in that reminder of like, step into something playful, a little bit more uncomfortable, and then see where it takes me. I don't know yet, but we're on the way.
Yeah, you're on the way. And
Yeah.
what you're doing is you're stepping out in faith. You're trusting that you've been designed very purposefully, right? You've been divinely designed on purpose to express. It's essential. I see it like we're here to express the divine. We're here to express our creator's energy through us. So you have to be you. And if this is who you've been created to be, then this is your soul's mission. And life is presenting you with opportunities to challenge yourself to step more and more and more into that. So I love that you're bringing play into that and flow. I mean, that's a massive leap of faith. And that's an expansion that I know is super uncomfortable. You and I have been in such similar places. I may be just a few years ahead in the whole tearing everything down to the ground and leaning in and exploring in that playful way and that trusting way. And it's scary. And it's also super exhilarating and freeing because we get to be who we are, not who we perceive we should be or who the world tells us to be. So in that whole season that you're just, I mean, you're in it, but you were deep in it not that long ago. So you said like 2025. Was there something specific that you really knew just had to absolutely be stripped away from you during that time, during that chapter?
Yeah, it was my own stuff that I was telling myself about what couldn't be real for me. And actually, I'll back that up with people, relationships in my life who are friends, good friends, great people, but they don't see as big as I do. And they were really holding me back when I would talk about like, but what if I did this? What if I did that? And they would come in with the, well, is that realistic for you? You know, shouldn't you do this first? And I listened to them and I held myself down because of that.
Mm-hmm. And isn't it so interesting when we see that happening? Because that's their own limitations.
Right.
And that's their ego speaking. And then they see us trying to expand and explore these new territories, and it's freaking them out. So what do? You know, they keep their language around what we're doing really limiting, and they invite us into their limited belief. And when we're not deeply rooting ourselves in faith and we're hanging out with that, we can easily get pulled in, which is why it's so important that we surround ourselves with people who are calling us higher, who are living a higher life. You know, what we expose our eyes to, our ears to is so important. And I've noticed that for myself too. Like actually there's been times where my ego would gravitate towards the people who would have these more limited beliefs of their bigness or my bigness or what is possible in the world. And I'm having conversations, but I could feel it in my body. I'm like, no, Jen, like you're only doing this because you want to play it safe. So you're looking for validation to play it safe. Go hang out with the people who are doing the big scary things. I get really uncomfortable when you hang out with them and you see what they're doing. Yeah. And so surrounding yourself. So I imagine that some of the work that you've done in yourself is rippling out to the work you're doing in the world and the people that are in your community. Because if you're up leveling yourself, I'm sure you're up leveling the energy of everybody around you.
You know, it was not long after I made the decision to start finding that, for lack of a better term, next level of friendships or relationships, that I then started to have in my life celebrity astrologers, people who are, you know, I now am friends with people who are literally some of the biggest names in astrology and other industries. And that's all because I decided that I was just as worthy of their friendship as the next person. Like we are all just human. And I realized I needed more expansion from those people, and that I used to always be like, well, why would they want to talk to me? Like little old me, right? I'm like, they're just humans and they're having their own human experience. And, the first time one of them was like, yeah, let's hop on a phone call. I'd love to chat. And we talked for like an hour and something. And I come up and I was like, wow, okay. So I said I wanted a new level of relationships and here we go. I
And
have
that
to
was
own it
presented
now.
to you. And then that, I'm sure
Mhm.
that also shows you that we are all human,
Yeah.
right? And we are all souls here on this journey of
Mhm.
remembering, and there's unity and union between all of us. So if we can see that and lean into that, that's where we're coming together as one. And how beautiful. But we have to allow that to happen. We have to stop creating the separation by putting people on pedestals and saying that they're doing something that we can't do. They might be doing something that we're not designed to do or called to do. That's different than us putting a limitation on ourselves, because there are no limitations on us, because the limitless creator is inside of us.
Yep.
This
I was
is,
sitting there complaining about the relationships I had and not being
yeah.
expanded. And because I wasn't actually choosing to let myself have those scary conversations and talk to those people who I looked up to, but I was apparently thought I wasn't worthy of those conversations. Like, you have to actually claim that you are ready for those things.
You claiming that, that's
Mhm.
a really important piece, claiming it. And when we claim it, what we're doing is we're standing in the energy of belief. And in order for something to come into fruition, we have to step into the energy of belief that it's even possible. So, I mean, was there a specific moment, or has it just been a series of events and moments, like the conversations with celebrity astrologers, that have been telling you, oh, wait, this actually isn't all falling apart. It's not going to all fall to shit on the grounds. It's actually becoming something new. I'm becoming something new.
Yes. It has been a series of events for sure. Definitely peaking more now as I'm reaching, like, literally within the next few weeks is my exact point of return on my chart. So, for me, especially because of my design and the things that are activated, it specifically has to do with relationships. And so there's been a lot of activations in relationships, friendships, and my relationship to myself too, my relationship to money, my relationship to things in general. So it's just been like little breadcrumbs overall that I look back now and I'm like, huh, hindsight is 2020.
It is. And it's so important for us to look back, because that's where we see the proof that our ego so desperately wants when we're in those moments of uncertainty and questioning, like, do I keep going? Do I take another step? Pausing and looking back and seeing how provided we are, how guided we are, all the miracles that have happened up until now, and allowing ourselves to believe that more is possible, because all of those miracles, I see them as expressions of God. So why wouldn't there be more? So, something else that really struck me, Adriana, in your story that you shared a little bit with me on your application, was you talked about healing and how you no longer feel like you are so focused solely on healing, 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 but more on who you want to be every single day to really feel alive and vibrant and who you've been created to be. And I love that distinction so much. I talk here on the podcast about healing. Many of my listeners know that I've worked for almost 15 years as a coach. Starting out, I started out as a very traditional health coach, dove really deep into functional medicine and naturopathy and integrative nutrition and all the things. And I found my way into life coaching and soul aligned coaching. And I'm kind of like a very unique me in the way that I look at this journey of healing. But I also caution people to be very careful not to make healing your identity, because it can become it very easily. And we can become so obsessed with healing as if it's a destination. And then we miss out on actually living life and experiencing what's in front of us right here, right now. So I would love for you to unpack what you shared about yourself and your own journey, because I think it's really, really powerful.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I have a history of multiple kinds of abuse. And so my healing journey was very necessary. And I don't even want to
Yeah.
say was, because I think it's forever.
Yep.
It's just a different way that I'm navigating it now. And so for me, there were years, gosh, when did I find human design? Almost 7 years, 7 years ago. And so that was really when the real healing work began. And like I said, I'm a Scorpio moon, and we just want to go down to the depths. It's like pure alchemy within the body. And that is our jam. That's our favorite thing to do. And at some point last year, I realized that I was so still focused on like what else is there to heal, what else is there to heal, that I wasn't actually coming to the surface. I'm like picturing Ariel in my head now, coming to the surface and going out and starting to take the actions to be this person. And I think, a lot of my work has led me to nervous system regulation and reassociating with the body. And I very much believe in that. This is still what I do in my coaching containers for people who are still in that healing phase. And also, I've noticed we have gotten really stuck in just falling so much back on our nervous system regulation and feeling safe in our body that we aren't allowing ourselves to be activated. We aren't allowing ourselves to come up from underneath the depths and to experience life and to start pooping our pants a little bit again. I was like, why am I not having new opportunities come? Why am I not feeling expanded? And it took me months to realize it's because there was nothing that scared me anymore in what I was doing. I was like, I can show up anywhere and be a coach, be a speaker. I can throw a program together. I can market it, no problem. But what scared me was claiming that I wanted to step into mainstream celebrity work, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, oh. And ever since then, that has been like this aliveness. I don't even know if I've ever felt this kind of aliveness in my whole life, even as a child. Just this beautiful awareness around, like, my husband said it the other day, how discerning I am now. Like, I want that, I don't want that. This makes me feel good, this doesn't make me feel good. And people have literally said to me in the last 9 months or so, like, what is it with your energy? You just like walk into a room and you just like radiate power. And I'm like, I do? Like, really? But they have to come back up. We have to remember to play, to activate, to feel alive. That's also a part of nervous system regulation.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. And it's a very important part that we often forget. We get so serious with it, so serious with it. And then it becomes the healing work, I'm using air quotes, that also can become a distraction from living life and doing the thing. I love how you said sometimes we need to poop our pants a bit, and we can get really cozy comfy because, well, I'm regulating my nervous system over here. I can't do anything that's gonna make
I'm
me
guilty of it. Yeah.
I'm so guilty of it. I mean, when I tell you, like, everything that I've been diving into, even in myself and my own introspection and spiritual growth, has been about expansion to the next level. And just like you, I've got some pretty powerful things in my own chart, astrologically and even human design. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. Anybody I'd talked to over the years, if I did readings with, I'm like, yeah, I think you might just have the wrong person. Like, I'm just really comfortable over here, speaking to my tiny little audience, sharing really comfortably, right? And so I've been hearing a lot about, Jen, you need to trust and lean into the expansion, and it's not going to be comfortable. And I'm like, oh. And then when my husband's like, so, just letting you know, as of September 1st, I will no longer be working for the company I've been working for 14 years. And I'm going to go all in on my business that I've been playing around with and dreaming about. So yeah, maybe you want to like go all in on your stuff too, Jen? I'm like, so like, oh, here's the pooping of the pants experience, right? That's like this, but this is so for us, like it's for us. And sometimes life will literally push us off the cliff and give us no choice. Most often, we have to choose that ourselves and not run away from the hard and the discomfort of it, and actually lean in and realize, oh, wait, I'm really, really, really uncomfortable. Yeah. That means I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Great, because I'm growing, and we grow in the abrasion of life. So How do you think that we can tell the difference between when we're in genuine healing work? And as you so beautifully said, like there are seasons where we need acute attention to it. I mean, I know it, like mind, body, spirit, whatever the thing is that we're unearthing, we need to be in this like acute container of what we would call healing work. But the difference between that and then endlessly trying to fix ourselves, like what's the little red flag that comes up when we're kind of stuck in that?
My answer is so simple that, I mean, people might hate me, but it's ultimately like, do you feel good? And a lot of the shadow work, the healing work, you do feel run down sometimes. You do feel a lot of grief sometimes, but underneath that, what I found to be true is that ultimately I still feel satisfied. I still feel good, as if like this feels hard right now, but I know that something just shifted. Or I know that this is coming up right now because my subconscious knows I am ready to deal with this. And ultimately, the overall energy is that you feel good, you feel satisfied, you feel like you're on the right path. When we are doing this kind of work and you're over and over again hit with like frustration, resentment, anger, bitterness, disappointment, like all these feelings, and the healing work just feels like a drag, like it's just dragging you down. Again, just like what you're saying, you got to pick the discomfort. Is it uncomfortable because it's scary, or is it uncomfortable because you're just literally exhausted physically and energetically? Those are two very different things. But when it's just a drag overall, it's like you got to come up to breathe. You got to integrate everything that, I mean, you're moving energy. Like they're proving this with biology and with physics and with chemistry. You're actually changing your biology. You're changing your brain chemistry when you do this stuff. You need to let your body and your brain and your energy come back up to breathe and to play. So ultimately, it's like, do you feel good at the end of the day or even in the morning? Like, are you feeling a baseline level of good?
I love that answer. That's beautiful. Let's talk a little bit about human design and how human design can be a very powerful tool in helping us with all of this, all of life, our expansion, our growth, our living as we are designed to live. How has human design specifically helped you surrender maybe the pressure to be someone you're not? I think you said you found it 6, 7 years ago, and it was at a really pivotal time in your life.
Yes, yeah. If any of your friends listening are big into astrology, they might have heard of the Saturn return. And I was pregnant with my second daughter. I was happily married. We had the house, I had the dream, the life, but on the inside, I felt like a shell of a human. I had a lot of unresolved trauma. And when I found this thing called human design, God, it was like that sigh of relief that you were talking about earlier when you just look at it and you learn a little bit about the basics, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, this is who I was as a kid before life kicked it out of me?" And I had been in therapy, but I was struggling to understand. It felt like working backwards. Like they're like, "Well, who are you? What do you want?" And I'm like, "I don't know." Like I couldn't even cry. I had no connection to my body. But human design felt like it gave me a roadmap to start with. And then that helped me peel back the layers of like, this is who you are. This is who you were born to be. If this is not how you're presenting now, if this is not what feels true for you now, let's get curious about that. Let's dig into that, peel back the layers. And so that literally was like a guidepost for me. I have a whole rebirth journey in my community, the Magnetic Rebellion, where it guides them through the exact process that I took with peeling back these layers one by one, being like, why doesn't this feel true to me? Who conditioned me another way, or what beliefs conditioned me another way? And how can I start re-regulating myself and my system and show up as this person comfortably? So the fact that it gave me like an entire starting point, that was everything to me. And as I've navigated so many seasons since, especially this nodal return, if I did not know the things that I know about human design and astrology the last year and a half of my life, I would have shut down my business. I don't even know if I'd be married right now. I was like, should I get a divorce? Like all these things happen. But because I had language for what was happening and I understood how that was playing into what I was being asked of, my soul was being asked of, I was able to lean into the journey with so much more grace. It wasn't easy. But it's really been, since the moment I found it, a guiding post for who am I and what's happening to me, and how can I surrender into this experience of it.
I love that so much. Can you briefly explain to our listeners who may never have heard of human design before what it is?
Yeah. Human design is a system that was actually channeled in 1987, so it's rather new. However, the systems it uses are ancient. I mean, we have Kabbalah, the I Ching, astrology, the chakra system. So these are systems that have been used within other cultures and households for so long. And human design, the way that he channeled all the information together was that he was able to bridge all these gaps of these systems together in a way that you understood how your actual physical and energetic body is designed to move through this earth. So astrology is a lot of like telling you about like, who you are, sure. Human design is very much like, how do you function every day? How do you create more opportunities for yourself? That kind of energy. How do you make decisions that are correct for you when we're in such a logical thinking society that's not actually correct for our body? I think everybody listening probably has a moment where they're like, my gut told me not to do something and I did it anyway. My gut was right. This is the body consciousness. This is what human design shows us.
That's what I've loved most about human design is it shows me how to be, how I'm supposed to be. And
Yeah.
it's not, some people will say, well, shouldn't God be telling you how to be? Yes, but I see human design as God's design.
Yeah.
So if we're the infinite, so God, I always reiterate this and repeat this because some people might come from some religious programming like I did as a child, where God is a man in the sky sitting on a white cloud in a robe with like some big scroll. And that was what I would visualize.
always
So
in
I
trouble.
visualized him. Yeah, right. And that was not what we're talking about. God
Yeah.
is spirit, God is undividable and infinite and, beyond our human understanding. And we can experience God, divine source, in so many different ways. So human design is so incredibly brilliant in helping us to understand, oh wait, we are this intricately designed that even the way that I digest food and information is really super unique to me. Not everybody needs, like, I'm a low sound girl, and I remember reading that and feeling so validated because my husband is opposite.
Yeah, my husband's high as well. And I'm calm. And I'm like,
oh, like I cannot take noise, loud music, or television. Or he loves when we go out to eat to sit at a really loud bar. He wants to sit at the bar, not the restaurant table by the window, which is what I would prefer, with like earplugs in. He wants to sit at the bar because that aliveness helps him to feel like he's digesting better, and he can talk like that. And I go into shutdown mode. And so it was incredibly validating for me to say, hey, it's in my design. Even the other day, we were eating dinner and we were eating on the patio. My daughter had music playing in the background. And I said, Ellie, can you turn your music off? Remember, I can't digest food with sound like that.
Good for you. Good for you. Just this morning, I had to do the same thing. My husband had music playing. The kids were running around, getting ready for school. We have a foster puppy here in addition to our dog. So they were all playing, and he had all like music and I was like, we need to turn the music off.
Yeah. And that's such a great example of, if we don't realize that about ourselves, and maybe you learn this about yourself without looking at something like human design, but if you're not, there really is something super validating, and then we can lean into it. Like when I also started leaning into like my authority and my strategy, which was how I started, I was like, oh, thank God. And then understanding too, I'm a manifesting generator, and I don't have ADD. I'm just a manifesting generator who gets bored and who pivots and needs to experience a lot of different things in life. It really helped me to also love and embrace myself more.
Yep, same. Also, I was diagnosed with ADHD. I am just a very busy, physically busy manifesting generator, and I'm supposed to be. Yeah,
Oh,
you too.
We're both manifesting generators. Yeah. You want to speak a little bit to that?
Yeah. Manifesting generators are an energy type, which I am not super pro labels, but when it gives you like a high, what's the word I'm looking for? A higher scope of being able to understand energy, I think it's really helpful. We are very multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate. energetic people, we've often been told we're too much, we're too loud, we have ADHD or ADD. Why can't you stick with any one thing? Why are you such a quitter? And like, no, we're supposed to bounce around, do a lot of things. We're supposed to be challenged, especially you. You have gate 35, one of my favorite gates in your sun sign, which is like the Jill of all trades. And here, oh my gosh, your podcast episode today about expectations and experiences, that's gate 35. And it literally aired when we were like, oh, it was perfect. So, yes, it's all about like, you have to learn to have a lot of experiences for you personally, a lot of experiences for the sake of the experience, not for the outcome. That's in my Jupiter placement. So when you put that up, I was like, this is like the most perfect birthday episode she could have done.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, manifesting generators, we're just big high energy. And if you're not feeling high energy, but maybe you pulled your chart on my website and you're sitting here being like, that doesn't feel like me, then I would say there is something that you are either forcing yourself to do, you're energetically depleted. You know, there's lots of reasons health wise why you might not feel like what I just explained.
Absolutely. I was meeting with a client yesterday, and she is a manifesting generator herself. She is an entrepreneur, and she has just been dragging for the last few months. And she's very aware that she got involved in a creative project as a producer, and she thought she was going to be using her creative self, not being a CEO of the entire thing. And there are so many things about this film project that do not align with her. They are not at all aligned with who she is, even in her human design, in her own divine design. It's just not her. So she finds herself in constant frustration. And so when she's in frustration, and that's my sign too. If I'm in frustration, I'm out of alignment. And so she's in frustration, and she's so energetically depleted because she's trying to force herself to do something that is not in alignment with who she is. And sometimes in life, we find ourselves doing things like, it is what it is. I mean, I was trying to coach her through that because she can't exactly walk away from this. I mean, she could ultimately, but she's trying to find a way to have herself survive this. But that lack of energy, oftentimes I'll tell my clients, yes, it can be our hormones, and it can be that we're not eating enough or we have mineral depletion. Okay, yes. Check those functional foundational boxes, please. Hydrated, sleep, all that stuff. But look at where you're leaking out energy and where you're also trying to be something that you're not. You're forcing something into your life. And I know, again, for me, human design really has helped me to be more me. It's just be more me. I mean, we talked about gate 35, and one of my strongest gifts too in human design is sharing through story. I mean, that's this podcast, and realizing like, oh, actually that is a gift. Let's lean more into that gift. Let's embrace it as a gift instead of make it wrong. I know a lot about a lot, but I don't know. I mean, I rabbit hole and I go deep on certain things, but I don't go deep on everything because just, again, part of who I am and part of my design is to be able to relate to a lot of different people. I'm an information gatherer. I'm someone who goes out there and deeply observes, and I also have to experience. So when I experience things, that's how I gain and gather wisdom. And then I can bring that forward and I can share it with other people. If I'm just teaching from head knowledge and it's not something that I've experienced, it's very shallow. It doesn't land. But when I'm able to share from my own lived experience or from an experience that I've observed, and even if I've just energetically engaged in it, then it's coming alive in me and it connects with other people. And so I've really allowed myself over the past few years to lean in more to that and allow myself to develop that and to trust it, to trust that, okay, it's going to bring me somewhere.
You have had a very good human design teacher.
Mm.
Everything you're saying back, I'm like, oh, she has done some exceptional self-awareness and study on herself. Yes, I agree with everything that you're saying about your experience. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. And as I said to you at the beginning of this podcast, you really sparked something in me when I did a reading with you a couple of years ago, because I wanted a human in front of me to help me pull together what I was learning on my own. So I can listen to the podcasts, and you have a really good podcast too. All those links will be dropped here in this episode. I could hear the things, I could read all the books, but having someone sit down with me and really get into the nitty gritty and help me is, I mean, it's really, really, really powerful. It's
Well,
really,
we all
really
have our
powerful.
blind spots. I
Yeah.
still get my own readings done. I still
Yeah.
listen back to my own readings all the time. We're going to have blind spots. We need other people.
We are going to have blind spots, and we also have our own conditioning. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked a lot on the podcast because that's part of the work that I do with people, is helping them look for the false identities that they're living into and dismantle them and step into your true identity. And we all have programming and conditioning from starting with our family of origin when we come into this world. So identifying what is there, what's the gunk and junk that's blocking us from even being able to tap into our true self, our true identity, and find our true essence of self is so important. So we could even get really familiar with our human design. And manifesting generator, by the way, for those of you listening, is just one of the different profiles. You want to share how many there are?
Yeah, there are
Or
5 different types within
Mhm.
human design. And then, of course, it gets much more nuanced from there. But just starting with type, strategy, and authority can really change your life. Just those 3 pieces, if you go get your chart, I mean, that's exactly what Jen just said. Those pieces changed her life. And then she got excited and wanted to go deeper. But even just having those 3 pieces turns on everything else.
Oh, yeah, yeah, and you have to with something like this because it's very, it's very expansive and very nuanced, and you can go as deep and detailed as you want. You can't, drink the ocean in one fell swoop. So you take little sips at a time and you just allow yourself to be led. And I really firmly believe, and in my experience, that we will be led. God has continued to lead me to what will be helpful for me. It's like not everything is helpful for me all at once. And I don't need to know it all. But when there is something that can help me move to the next level or unstuck myself or have a better understanding, that's often where I will hear that intuitive nudge, like, hey, Jen, let's dive a little bit deeper now. Let's take a look at, I don't know, a different one of your gifts that you have not yet really explored. And maybe it's going to land with you more now than it did 2 years ago. And that's been my experience. I mean, is that your experience too? Like, are you still finding that you're learning about yourself all the time?
I'm just also laughing at the fact that the exact words that just came out of your mouth are the words that I literally said, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, because of the current transit that we have happening right now, which is in gate 62, which it has to do with like, you'll know the right things at the right moment when you need to know them. I literally just wrote that the other day.
I
And I
have
was like,
chills.
she is tapping into that energy hard right now.
Yeah.
But yes, it's very, very true. Moments where I have tried to force knowledge, whether because I feared I didn't know enough about human design or whatever the topic was, or I feared I wasn't healing fast enough, right? Whatever that was, where I was trying to force knowledge or force a knowing, it it never sticks. Like how I used to think, well, maybe I should learn about the transits and what's happening each day. And it was just so over my head. I was like, I can't. But in the recent months, I've gotten so excited about them. I It's like from the day that I started actually looking at them again, I understood them on a whole new level. So you'll know what you need to know when you need to know it. And if it feels forceful, it probably is. So
Could not agree. Every time I have tried or try to force myself to do something because I'm shoulding myself,
Mhm.
doesn't land. It
Yep.
doesn't stick. I
Yep.
get frustrated.
Hmm.
I get frustrated. I don't feel that emotional exhilaration. But when I feel that, yes, like that deep sacral yes, that this is for me, oh my gosh, I can gobble it up. It lights me up. It feels really freeing and it sticks. It sticks in me. So that's also been super freeing because I've done so much less shoulding of myself in the past few years, which has also been a big midlife call up for me because midlife for me has been a whole season of taking a look at absolutely every area of my life that does not align, that cannot come with me, that maybe was there and it served its purpose, but it doesn't serve. So I've done a lot of letting things die, shedding. There's been grief. I know you mentioned that earlier in the podcast. So what do you think? What are you seeing, Adriana, that women are really stepping into and remembering now? I think now we're in a really powerful time to
Yes.
be alive, people.
Oh boy. I'm like, how
Mhm.
far deep do I want to go? This is something I could talk on for hours. And I love the word remembering.
Mhm.
That I get emotional when I talk about this. I'm already feeling tears coming. It just reminds me of about a year and a half ago when I made the decision to move forward with stepping into the path of becoming a priestess. And it was just this whole body remembering, like, oh my gosh, all of this, just I've been doing the work of a priestess for years and I never knew it. And I am seeing this awakening. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm seeing so many women go through this awakening right now. Like, I know that politically the world, the United States feels terrible right now. And also there's a reason for the climax, right? There's a reason that it's getting so hard. It's because we are so close. We are so close to a completely different paradigm. And in human design terms, in 2027, there is an actual paradigm shift. We've been preparing for it for years. This is why we're already feeling it. We have more and more women stepping up using their voices, not even just politically. I'm talking about in general, getting out of bad marriages. I've had people in my community who basically are like, why am I giving my soul away to credit debt and money, and like money's not even real, and people deciding to declare bankruptcy because it makes them feel lighter. And I'm like, I'm here for that. I'm like, screw the patriarchy. Like, yes, let yourself feel free. And so many ways where women are just noticing how powerful they are and what their gifts are, and maybe they don't want to be in corporate America anymore. Maybe they want to stay at home with the kids or start a garden. Like, it it is just such a powerful moment of women rising and remembering we are true creators. I mean, we birth human. How do we birth humans? I understand this science. I get it. But really, like, I would think that you probably, Jen, think about this kind of thing of like life forms in our womb. How is that possible?
How is that possible? I
Right?
mean, that right there, that's God. Like,
Right?
what? Like, yeah, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
it's just wild. And so
Mhm.
it is a time of remembering for women everywhere. And I don't want to completely negate any other gender. I think everyone right now is coming to terms with like, who am I?
Who am I? Right. And it's
Mhm.
this, there's a rise of the divine feminine, and the divine feminine is in all of us. It's not just those of us who are here in female bodies. While we have the, predominant divine feminine in us, we also have divine masculine. And God is both. It's divine masculine, divine feminine. But the divine feminine has been suppressed and repressed for so long. And so we are seeing this freedom for women as we step more into that divinity within us and using our voice and being free to be who we've been created to be, not who we think we should be. And so we're doing so much shedding and dropping of the shackles. There's this song by Krista Wells called The Voice. I'll put it in the show notes,
Oh,
but
I'm like, now I need to go
I'm going
listen.
to send that to you after
Yeah.
our call here, because that came to me as you were saying, because every time I hear that song, it's been a theme song for me the past few years. I almost like see this woman, and you said priestess, and I see a woman like with this like long, almost like ethereal white gown just flowing, and she's just leading, and there's just like people following her up. And we're being invited to step more and more into that. It's like a wise elder, and to really own it, and to own our wisdom, and to own our gifts, and to be who we've been created to be, to really lean in and listen to the calling of the soul. Is it easy? No, it's not easy, but it's also not easy to continue to silence yourself and to live with all the pain of the shoulds and the piled on shit that we've taken on throughout our life through the programming and conditioning, and to not live as we are again created to be. It's so, so, so freeing to step into who you are. And that's the call. That's the remembrance. That's the remembrance of our true essence of self, of the divinity within. And it's an exciting time to be alive. And women like you and me, we get to hold space for others who are stepping into this. We need each other. We need to be doing this in community. We need to be surrounding ourselves with people who are encouraging us, who have empathy and compassion, and who can also hold that lantern of light and say, keep going, right? I'm with you. I'm walking this path forward too. Keep going, keep going. Not, I don't think you should do it. Actually, like go back to the creepy, comfy cave.
Yeah.
It's much, much safer in there. No. So what truth do you feel, Adriana, that you have really stopped apologizing for? Like, I don't apologize anymore for that.
Oh, taking up space in any way, shape, or form. I was at Target this morning, and the woman before me, she had to run 2 different transactions, and she kept apologizing, and I'm like, "Stop apologizing. Why are you apologizing?" I'm like, "Take up space. Like, you do you. I am behind you in line. I will patiently wait my turn. You do you." And I'm only able to say that now. I'm only able to see that in other people now because now I see that in myself, where all the spaces where I didn't think that I was good enough, or I apologized for just existing or saying what I thought could be the wrong thing. Like, what if I just showed up and spoke from my heart and I didn't care how it landed because it was true for me? And how they receive that is not my problem. That is a mirror to them for what they need to explore and work on. So yeah, just in all ways, my physical being, my spirituality, me saying that I'm a priestess, that really freaks some people out. I'll
Oh,
tell you
sure.
that.
I'm sure because it's very confronting to all
Yeah,
of their prejudgments, right?
yeah,
About,
yeah.
even spirituality and who you should be or
Mhm.
who you could be. Yeah.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
But not apologizing for being who
Mm-mm.
you are and for allowing yourself to also challenge other people by being who you are.
Mhm. Yep.
I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, I know now that I'm a gentle challenger for people, whether they
Hmm.
ask for it or not. That's just like I'm a walking challenge to people. And that's a part of what I do for people. And that's going to activate some, and that's okay. I've been learning to separate, detach from their emotions.
Me too, sister. Me too,
Work in
because their
progress.
emotions are their business and that's
Yes.
their process and their
Right.
journey. And we're not here to make everybody comfortable. Thank
Mhm.
God. I mean,
I know.
I
Love
look
is
back
our
on
initiative.
Jesus and his life so differently now. And I really do look at his life as being the one who can show us, like, and he did not make people comfortable. And he was not apologizing for that at all. Like, he dismissed everybody who criticized him in any way, shape, or form for not following rules. So much so that his radical message of love got him killed. And even in that, okay, bring it. My husband and I decided recently to rewatch season 5 of The Chosen. And I was like rewatching it with like a completely different set of eyes just from where I am right now in my own becoming and my own remembering and my own challenge to be me. And I'm like, they did a really, really good job in that show portraying Jesus as being this unapologetic leader of just being who you've been created to be and really, really leaning into why you're here. And then saying, oh, by the way, I'm leaving because I'm about to get killed, but you can do everything that I've done and greater because it's all about you not giving power to anything of this world. Like, stop giving power to things of this world. Stop really leaning in to the source that is within you. That's all. I mean, and that's, what I call Christ consciousness. And if we can just continue to work on our consciousness right there and be more of who we've been created to be, that in and of itself connects us to God.
Yep. It's all
So we
one.
can
It's
do
all
it
one.
all one. It's all one.
And you
Absolutely.
don't identify as a priestess, do you?
I have never thought about that. I think of myself more of as an oracle, but
Mm.
I
Priestess is known as also an oracle. But yeah, I
really,
get as you're speaking, I mean, like I said, I'm obsessed with this topic. I could go for hours. I'm like, man, she feels like,
Do I?
Yes, full on priestess, at least in some lifetime.
Well, we can continue this conversation for hours and hours, but we won't hear on this podcast, but I have no doubt of that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've had different, even Akashic record readings and things like
Mhm.
that have let me know that, yes, I have
Yeah.
been very powerful in other walks on my journey in other
Mhm.
lifetimes and been, killed for that or silenced for that. And that's part of the fear that I came in with in this lifetime that had me being a chronic people pleaser and shooting myself all the way up until I came to this place where I couldn't do it anymore because I'm actually a truth seeker. I'm a truth speaker and a truth seeker, but I had to get over that deep-seated fear of using my voice. And I'm still on the growth edge of that. I mean, that's every one of my podcast episodes that I do for me is a growth edge of expansion of saying, okay, just say it a little bit more, be a little bit more you, Jen, play a little bit more in this state of expansiveness and not apologizing for being you because you might offend somebody that thinks that you're wrong. Ugh. I'm so tired. I got so done with that.
Yes.
And really, you're a mom. So one, you'll understand this. Yours are younger than mine are, but I know you see it in your kids, especially your 11-year-old. You'll see your own shit, right? It's
Oh,
mirrored
yes.
back at you.
Mhm.
Oh, and you want to give them everything. You want them to be better and do better than you ever have. And we can't really affect that in our kids in any other way than looking at ourselves. So when my kids started entering into teenagehood, it was probably around the time my youngest was 11. So it was like 11, 13, 15, right? So like that, I mean, like the teenage hormones and the attitude and the pushback. But what I was really noticing in them was my stuff. I was noticing my daughters and their chronic people pleasing, and they're over apologizing. Like I apologized. My basketball coach in high school used to make me run suicides for saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And she's like, stop, please stop. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And it was like suicide free. And so here I'm living my life apologizing. And now my daughters are apologizing for taking up space and being who they are. And they're getting caught up in FOMO and it's hurting them. And they're people pleasing and it's hurting them. And I'm like, oh, I cannot lecture them on not doing that. I have to stop doing it. I need to take a really deep, hard look at myself and look at why. Why am I unable to stop? So they've been massive teachers for me and instigators of my own growth. Thank God. I mean, that's part of our soul contract. That's why our children are such massive gifts for us. They really are.
Each one of my kids is a mirror for some part of me that really needed to be reparented. Yeah.
Ooh,
All very different ways, but
very
yes.
different. You're right. Very, very, very different.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, Adriana, we will certainly have to have another one of these conversations down the road because we could talk
We
and talk
need
and talk.
chapters. There's so many chapters we could
Yes,
have.
there are. So if listeners could remember only one thing from this conversation today, what would you really want them to be remembering or walking away with?
To stay really curious and to remember their power, to stay curious about remembering their power, ultimately. Whenever we fear that we don't have control, whenever we find that we're giving anything outside of us that power over us, whether that's a person or a location that you live in, that's one I've been working on with feeling really dislocated here. Whatever it is, it's getting really curious and open about what is it teaching you and what do you need from this situation? What's the medicine there? Because we get to alchemize all of that within us. Outside tools and systems like human design, astrology, all of these are like cherry on top energy. Ultimately, you can change everything within you. Remember, I'm assuming most are women listening to this. Remember that you can literally create life in your body. So
We can create life in our body.
magic.
Absolutely. Magic. I love that so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and for this
Thank you.
conversation. Where can people find you?
Mm. Well, my website is just my full name, adrianakeefe.com. I also have the podcast, the No BS Human Design podcast. I have a new podcast as well
Ooh,
this was like a fun passion project with a co-host named Lindsay, and it's called Spiritual Kinks. It's where we're just airing out all the spiritual curiosities, the weird questions that people fear asking. But then I'm also on Instagram at Adri Keefe, ADRI Keefe, and you can reach out to me anywhere.
awesome. We'll put all those links in the show notes so people can reach out to you and explore human design. I know they can go on your website and even run their chart, right?
Oh, yep. You can run your chart for free. You can book a chart reading if you would like, all the fun things.
So fun. Thank you so much, Adriana, for being on the podcast and for sharing all of your lived experience and wisdom with us. We really
Thank
appreciate you.
you. Thank you for having me.
Thing that kept echoing in my heart throughout our conversation is we are not here to merely heal and make that our identity. We are here to live fully. Healing really matters and it's an important part of the journey, but growth matters. And in that, we've got to incorporate playfulness. We need to step more and more into the integration that is living life, living our life, becoming really aware of the patterns that we may have lived into is so important. But eventually, as Adriana shared in today's conversation, all of that inner work is really meant to bring us back into relationship with life itself, back into joy and creativity, connection, presence, aliveness. And at times it's going to be really uncomfortable. As Adriana and I both shared, we've been in it ourselves. We're in it ourselves as we expand and grow. And it's uncomfortable. But the freedom that's found on the other side, when you can really, really be yourself, is worth it. It's so worth it, my friends. So if I'm being honest, this conversation is really, really aligned with where I am and what I've been creating for you and I to step into, because we're going to do it together. This summer, I will be opening the doors to a very brand new experience called the Summer Self-Reclamation Experience. It's opening really soon. It's a 6-week journey for women who are ready to stop waiting for life to begin and start reconnecting with themselves right now. Not through more pressure. You don't have to go do a course in a program to fix yourself and find yourself. You're not going to do it with another overwhelming to-do list or trying to become anyone but you. We're going to together explore with a lot of playfulness, experimentation, exploration, meaningful practices, weekly experiments, reflection, community, who you are. There's going to be a lot of gentle invitations back to the woman that you've always been beneath all the noise. And summer, I chose it on purpose because it feels light and airy. There's a lot of literal light out there, and there is a more playful spirit in the summertime. So we're going to really embrace that and bring it into this experience that you can find the link to right here in the show notes. So if you've been feeling called to slow down, reconnect with yourself, trust your inner wisdom, and create momentum in a way that feels supportive rather than exhausting, I would love to have you join us. I'm going to be doing it right alongside you. It starts mid-July. You can take it on vacations with you. This is not something that is going to be drudgery. It's going to be fun. So if today's conversation resonated with you, please take a moment to share this episode, like, subscribe wherever you're listening. That's so important. That helps my message to get out to other people. Leave a review, send me a message directly here or on Instagram. I really genuinely love connecting with you and hearing what lands for you. Thank you so much for spending time with Adriana and I today. Until next time, my friends, continue showing up, keep listening inward, keep surrendering to the life that's waiting to unfold through you. I will see you next week. Thank you for joining me on the Daily Surrender. If today's episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear your reflections. Send me a message, share this with a friend, or leave a review. Remember, true healing and freedom come when we let go, surrender, and trust that God's way
is so much better than our way. Until next time, my friends, keep surrendering, keep rising, and keep walking in peace.